Here with some Gen Con wrap up for the first day at least. Um, so a lot of the things we found out today were spaced around the starter deck. People got to use it, stuff. But we also got some new cards that Drew Nalaska was showing off, and a couple other people just showing off what they got from the common cards. And I think there were some cards we haven't seen yet. Um, but so let's start. Optimus Prime, we've seen him before. Bumblebee, I believe we've also seen before. Ironhide, I don't know if we've. I definitely believe we've seen it before, but I don't know if we had confirmed that these cards just have no effects. And a lot of the cards we did see today just didn't have effects, and that's pretty interesting that these lower star cards are going to have just no effects some on occasion. Red alert's right here. Um, Another card. One of the more interesting cards that wasn't shown off at this show was Sunstorm. Um, I don't know how well you're going to see this, but this character's attack is equal to the number of cards in your hand. And then for his vehicle mode, when you flip to this mode, you have fewer than 3 cards in your hand, draw cards equal to the difference. If anybody here has played Yu-Gi-Oh! It's basically Slifer the Sky Dragon. What does that mean for Transformers TCG, though? I think this is a card that will work well with, I don't want to call it milling, but draw, going through your deck. One of the themes that I've noticed a lot is just going through your deck and doing it as fast as you can, because there's a lot of more powerful cards that require you to shuffle your scrap pile back into your regular deck, like Nemesis Prime. And I think this would be a good support on it. It is really high stars though, and I've been at a loss to kind of find cards that would be worth running with Nemesis, but still having enough bots on the field to be able to really defend yourself. Probably one of my favorite reveals that we had today was Flame War. I was at the BotCon where she got her toy, and I absolutely love that toy. It was one of the only convention figures that I had opened for a while. But she's really interesting. I think she would work well with Nemesis Prime too. Each of your characters has tough one. Flip one more battle card when defending. And then when you flip this card to this mode, each of your characters get bold one until the end of the turn. So basically, she's a very good. I think this is probably the best low level character we've seen, especially at 5 stars. I could definitely see her being somebody that's almost running every deck. Um, Especially if you need something with slow cards just to round out your battlefield. Um, One thing you have to note is you're going to want to keep her um, in robot mode when it's not your turn, and you're going to want to keep her in robot mode when it is your turn, or in vehicle mode when it is your turn. But that's something that's going to be, I think, almost probably a staple, especially if you are trying to get through your battle cards as fast as possible. Here's Dinobot Swoop. This is another card that was revealed today. Um, when you robot mode has no text. When you flip to this mode, move 1 damage counter from this character to an enemy. I believe it was Starscream that has something very similar, or the Seekers. I think it might even been Ramjet. But one of the Seekers I know unload. Oh, I think it was Slipstream. So he's kind of like a different, another version of Slipstream. He's not that strong, but he's very cheap. This is the new Bumblebee. I believe this is the super rare that goes along with Nemesis Prime. I believe that's the super rare. So this is like 1 in 79 packs. I think we've said it was, or I'm not 100% sure, but this is um this is the Bumblebee that is going to be not in the starter deck. When this card attacks or defends, you flip at least 2 whites, flip 2 more battle cards. So it's just stacking battle cards if you're lucky. When you flip this mode, draw a card, then put a card from your hand on the top of your deck. So this is good for searching. If you want to maybe pull off his effect, um, if you're using this card, since it has such a high value, it might be worth adding cards specifically, adding cards with white pips just to draw out this effect a lot easier. Here is the non-starter deck version of Optimus Prime. He is bold 2, so 2 more battle cards when attacking, and then when you flip this to this mode, repair 1 damage from each of your Autobots. So he's a healer. I don't know if he's worth that much um, of a star count, but he heals. Also, fun note: he, I believe, is the opposite in artwork to Nemesis Prime, which is kind of cool to see. Moving on, we have Jetfire. We've seen him partially before. When you flip this to this mode, put an armor utility from your scrap pile onto this character. Bold 1, flip when you're attacking. I think he's a little high, not very the most credible effect, I think. For what I'm looking at strategy wise, I think this is going to be a little different than what I would be using for what I'm trying to pull off with Nemesis Prime. But stat wise, he's a little bit higher in attack than some of them of his level, but he's just okay. Hound's another one that got revealed today. When this card attacks or defends, you flip your first white pip this turn. It gets +1 attack and +1 defense until the end of the turn. So if you flip a white pip, when this card is attacking and defending, it gets +1 for attack and defense. Not too exciting. When you flip to this mode, you may scrap a card from your hand that has at least 1 white pip. If you do, draw 2 cards. Now this is another good support card. It will definitely pull some cards going through. I just don't know how necessary his robot mode effects doesn't really coincide with each other, I would say. But he is a good, somewhat low star count, so he could be definitely usable. Here's Ramjet. He's just plain Jane Ramjet. So we'll concentrate a little bit more on Megatron's vehicle mode. When you flip to this mode, you may scrap a card from your hand. If you do, scrap an enemy upgrade. So it's a 1-for-1, and it's not a bad star count, so he might be useful. His attack's a bit lower than I would think it would be. Here's Starscream. Tough. He has tough 1 and bold 1. Not much else. So another card that was real today is Barrage. We've only seen his robot mode. Nobody's posted pictures of his other mode. While this card is attacking a damaged enemy, this has bold 2. That's pretty good. I would like to know what his star count is, because he does have a pretty high attack and quite a decent defense. I'm thinking he'll be about 6 or 7, but we'll have to find out later. So here's another card that was revealed today by Drew. And it's very interesting. It's a card specifically meant for Prime, and it's just a weapon upgrade. But it's quite strong, and it's really not much to talk about. I don't think it's going to get much use. Now, here are a lot of the battle cards that we got from the deck, and I think there's a lot we can look at and really find useful. A lot of the ones that I think are going to be useful is for searching and draw power, stuff like that. So I'll point those out to you. For this picture, I'm going to focus on ramming speed, scrap an enemy upgrade. That's not bad at all. That's pretty strong, especially at no cost. Repair 1 damage from each of your character. Once again, another just good no-cost card. Rapid Conversion is one that's a lot more interesting. First off, it's a white pip, so that's going to allow you a 2 extra draw if you run into it. And then its effect is flip one of your characters to its other mode. So if you need an extra character transformation, or your character's not in the mode you want it to be, this is going to be really helpful. Definitely something you're going to want to run multiple of. Leap into battle. One of your characters gets 3+ attack until the end of the turn. It's okay, whatever. New designs, you may play an upgrade. That might be helpful. Not the greatest. Piercing Blast, Pierce 3, do 3 more damage, but not more than total attack. It's okay. I think the biggest benefit is a white pip. Here's something interesting. The card next to it, Plasma Burst, has no pip. So if you run into it, it's just a waste. That's unfortunate. I think that's gonna honestly make it not something I want to run, especially for only 2 damage to an enemy. I don't know if there will be some sort of burn deck that somebody does in the future, but strategically, it's not great without having those pips, especially if you want to work off certain effects. Rapid Assault, I think we haven't. When you put this on a ranged character, your opponent chooses a card from their hand, it scraps it. That's not bad for a little extra defense. Here's a good one. Ready for action. Untap one of your characters that has 10 stars or fewer. Now, if you want to use that on something like Mirage, which can untap itself once per turn and battle again, you might be able to get a third attack in if the circumstances are correct. And this obviously is probably a little bit powerful to some people because it has no pips on it. Incoming transmission, draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand on the top of your deck for an orange pip. That is very good. That's something that you're going to be seeing. Um, a lot of in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's a lot of cards that are with similar effects, and it's really helpful to be able to search out stuff faster. Inspiring Leadership is another sort of same thing. It helps you go through your cards. This one's probably a little bit weaker, I'd say. Um, Actually, no. It really depends on what your situation is. If you're trying to control what you're pulling, this would be your one. But if you're trying to go through your deck, this is definitely a good one. Flamethrower Bolt 2, flip more cards when attacking. We've seen that, and I think that's a fantastic card. We've also seen Grenade Launcher. Handheld Blaster, we haven't seen. That's another bold one, but 2 pips, so it's a trade-off between what you want from Flamethrower and Hand Blaster. If you want more defense opportunities in your deck, then you want to go with Handheld Blaster. And if you want just more cards that coming out, you're gonna want to go with Bolt 2. They're pretty evenly matched, but I'm thinking depending on what you're gonna want, it's gonna be the difference on what you choose. Improvised Shield also very good. It has the 2 orange pips, plus the tough one. So if you're using this, it's definitely good for attack. It's definitely one of those cards you want to use multiple of. Team Up Tactics. Choose one of your characters. If it is a truck, repair 2 damages from it. If it's a card, draw 2 cards. So this is very specific. It's okay, but it's very specific. I can see it currently with what's out there being used in a lot of decks. Armor plating is just 1 blue shield and 1 blue pip. Data pad, when the upgraded character attacks, draw a card. Then you may put that card from your hand on top of your deck. It's only worth it in my opinion for the pip, but Delivery Crystal, when this card upgrade character attacks, return one of your defending characters upgraded to its owner's hand. When the upgraded character attacks, return one of the defending characters upgrades to its owner's hand. That's okay. And that's pretty much it. I'll probably have a little bit more to show you guys that I will check for before I wrap this up, and I will add them at the end. One more thing I want to note, there's been a little bit of controversy with Sunstorm. There was a lot of concern that he was a GameStop exclusive, but he is just part of the normal pack. He is a rare in the pack. You should be able to get him, and I really hope it is that way, which is, from what I understand, because he is a pretty good card. Definitely something that's usable. Okay, thank you for watching. Have a good night.